Welcome to When Marriage and Purpose
Collide,
the podcast. So, babe, I think people want to know about us a little more. I think we should tell them.
Well, I was looking fine, handsome online. You slid in my DMs. I was standing on a frozen lake with my dad, and it was
Stop, Sturge. Just speed it up.
All right, so basically we met online. Almost a year later, we were engaged, and 6.5 months later, we were married.
So there's so much to our story that we want to share. We always knew we had a mission. We are in no way perfect.
Well, we are passionate about helping Christian singles date with intention and purpose for marriage.
Hence this podcast.
Take a peek into our lives as we handle married life on purpose. There also will be some laughter, some seriousness, and a lot of thought-provoking topics.
So whether you are single and dating, engaged, or newlywed,
wait, don't forget the married couples.
We want to thank you for tuning in.
On to the episode. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode of When Marriage
and Purpose
Collide, the podcast. We got that right. 8th episode in, and we got our...
Nah, more than 8. 8 plus the other 10 and the other 10.
8 plus the...
28.
Get up in the camera. 8 plus the other 2 seasons. That's
I don't know what that was.
He's having fun in the background.
Yeah.
So you get on the camera. Anyway, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. We are so excited and happy that y'all came to join us.
There's a cat in our yard.
We're happy that y'all came to join us.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
And we got 2 episodes left this season. How you feel about that?
I'm all right.
You're all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You just all right?
All right.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'm sad.
You sad?
Yeah. Because we was on the road.
You still is.
But we know we got some things to handle. Usually when we take off for a bit, it's not just because we want to take off.
We got some other things going.
We got all the stuff that we got to do at the house, with the house, for the house with the kids. Summer's about to be here. So we just got to, kind of take that break and relax. We did plan an anniversary trip.
Yeah.
That's something.
I'm looking forward to that. I'd be dreaming of it.
Yeah. So we got things about to pop off for the next season, which will be season 4. I can't believe I'm saying season 4.
We're on 4.
Season 4, but we're on season 3 right now. So.
Yep. Number 8.
Anyway, we always start off our episodes with a segment called Something Interesting. And the topic today that we wanted to bring up was about couples that prank each other. Yeah. Specifically the couples that prank each other and showcase this on the internets. On Obama's internets.
Now, I know
Beyonce's internet.
The reason why they do it gets them a lot of views. So,
well, yeah,
that's the main reason.
They be getting,
but some of the stuff actually a lot of stuff I don't agree on. Yes. I don't want to be the ones to be pranking all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Could we be a couple that pranked?
After a while, I know it's bringing that money in, but we're going to figure. Let's prank other people or something, because you pranking me all the time. I'm gonna get irritated.
You only gonna get pranked because of how many times I pranked you, or just being pranked in general?
Yeah, that gets old.
Does it?
Yes.
You think it gets old for them?
Yeah. You gotta constantly do it just to pay bills. I'm pretty sure that's why they got the mansion and everything like that. We're talking about a certain couple.
No, there's a lot of couples.
I mean, there's a lot of
them who have, and they getting paid based off of pranking.
But that's mad annoying.
But no, I don't. I think we could do different things that are healthy pranking. I think they do so much unhealthy pranking.
Oh yeah.
That I think it just becomes too much and it looks toxic and it looks like y'all not really in it to win it, or y'all even together. You know what I'm saying?
Well, technically, you can find ways to do it where it's not really harmful. It looks harmful, but it's not.
True.
Like the main one we saw that everybody's talking back up again about it is how his girl basically deleted his game save and cut up his games.
And yeah, you got to break it down for people who I don't understand game save and cut up. And then so basically, I know what you mean.
Right.
What is it?
So basically, he had physical disc to play his video games from, and she went and cut those, so he couldn't play those no more. And then she deleted his memory of all the progression he had for however how long. That means all the money he has spent on there, all the time he spent on there, all that's gone. Can't even get it, no backup, nothing.
So I want to ask you,
and she had the nerve to put gotcha on there.
I want to ask you,
go ahead.
If that was to happen to you, if that was a thing, like you have a game, their memory is saved, and where that would be detrimental.
Oh, we would have issues. One, I don't even think you'd be able to get to it. But
how would you handle it? Will we have divorced? What would happen with that?
Nah, I wouldn't get divorced. It's an issue, but it ain't that deep. But
what would your initial thing be?
I'll be upset.
Like, how upset would you get? Would I finally see how frustrated you are? Like, would I see? I mean, not frustrated. How the anger that you have not showed me yet? Would I finally see that thing? I wouldn't. Oh.
If you would have done it, if you was able to do it so many times, then yes. Right. But if you did it like one time, thinking it was funny after we just talked about it, like I would be mad, but I don't think you would ever see that side. Not yet.
What if I didn't show it to nobody? Because we could get views and we can get money. But what if I didn't even do it for that reason?
You still got the same reaction, recorder or not?
After the fact, I'm talking about.
Still.
Okay. You would have found out that, you ain't making no money off this. I'm already mad. Like I would be mad if you.
Oh no, I would still be mad either way. Like either way, if you make money off of it or not, you make money off of it, that money mine. You gonna pay back everything you did, and then you gonna be playing the game with me.
Oh, that's torture for real.
Yep.
Because I can't walk on walls. I mean, I'm walking on walls the whole time. I don't know how to actually fight and shoot nothing.
Oh no, that'll be part of the rules now. When I'm down there, you down there with me.
Oh, that's torture.
You're gonna delete. All right, come on. You're gonna progress with me so you can fill out it. Then I'm gonna delete yours at the end of it.
I think I just get, like you said though, as far as pranking is concerned, I think I just get burnt out.
Well, yeah,
like we already don't know how to do stuff halfway. This podcast is our most consistent thing that we've done. I mean, we've done a lot of other consistent, but as far as what people can see from us, so I don't know if I can do something else.
See, I just thought about that's like me going back, like the podcast we just did. You did all that, and I just went in. Boop.
Yeah. And
you would have been mad at me. Like, why'd you delete it? Oh, even if I say if it was on accident, you still would be mad.
Yeah.
Now if I did on purpose,
right?
Because you ain't doing this with me.
Exactly.
And I think the other part was the fact that his girlfriend basically it's like it's just a game, and you see how distraught this man is. He over here on the floor crying, all this other stuff, but you just like he's just mad. I don't understand.
That's just horrible. Like, even if you aren't a gamer, and you see your husband, significant other on the game, you just know how hard they work and what they use it for, and that it's their relaxation time, and that it's something they go back to. They, chilling with their friends, whatever it is, and you just do something like that. That's just totally disrespect. That's just all the way disrespect. So that lets you know about other things that may happen in their life too. It's not just a game. So
yeah.
So yeah.
She's able to go that far. That means she's doing other things too.
Right. So consensus is that we would not be a great pranking couple. No, it won't work for us.
Not at all.
Let us know out there if would y'all be a good prank couple? The couples out there, would y'all be good at pranks? Would y'all consistently do it for the YouTubulars?
No, because some people are like, I'm good at pranking. No, you're not. You just like making people mad.
Money that go into that too. Like a lot of stuff you got to get and do, and time and thinking. that's content on content. Like you got to constantly think.
That's what I was saying with the game one. He probably just got a whole nother PS5 with his whole profile and everything like that on there, or a fake profile and extra games, and just cut those up. He didn't really cut the one he actually plays.
You saying for the real deal?
Because I ain't about to put my actual stuff on there. We're gonna find the fake stuff and act like it's real.
Yeah.
I slash your tires. There'll be a spare tire.
I cut the CD on your game. You know I did it because I'm insane.
That's why I went digital.
Anyway, so y'all, thank y'all.
Can't cut digital.
Thank y'all for tuning in to our segment of Something Interesting.
Hey.
Hey. Hey, y'all. Hey. So I'm so glad y'all were able to join us for the last segment of Something Interesting. Y'all know how we do. We have to kind of share about family, life, love, relationships, what's going on in culture in the world. So that's how we do it. So thank y'all for tuning in for that. But guess what, y'all? We got a guest in the His House today. We got a guest in the his house. You know, we love to pull people in. If there's a topic, if there's something that we are like, we want to know more about, we're not sure of, and we know that our audience is full of everyone who's diverse, whether you're in relationships, whether you're seeking relationships, you're just single, maybe you're just married and just want to find out more about this. This is what we do. And so our guest that we bring on is just another ear, another person to reach y'all in a different way, because we could be talking about what we talk about all the time. So y'all, guess what? We got somebody in his house. His name is Anthony Johnson. He is a co-parenting coach. Y'all give it up, give it up, give it up.
Oh, thank you. I'm here.
Anthony, thank you for joining us. So let me share a little bit about how I found Anthony real quick.
Okay.
I love talking about healthy relationships, and I'll just scroll on the social medias and be like, okay, what kind of topic should we talk about next? What can we do as far as content, all of the things? And I'm scrolling and I'm like, the co-parenting coach. And so I click on the profile and I'm like, what is he all about? And I'm scrolling on, I'm basically binge watching, because it's so like when you pull people in and their stories are captivating. Are you talking about your relationship with your kids and what you're doing now and all that? So I was like, you know what? We need to have him on. And so that's how we got him here today. So before we get started, Anthony, please, can you tell the people, who are you? Who is you? What you be doing?
Shoot, man, I'll be doing a lot of stuff. Sometimes I'll be doing too much. I'm trying to figure that out sometimes. Right, I'm a co-parenting coach, and it's been a long journey to get to this place, right? So just a little bit about me. I'm from Buffalo, New York originally. Okay. Born and raised. I'm an Army and an Air Force veteran. So I did 15 years in the Army before I transferred to the Air Force. I was an officer in the Army and the Air Force. Okay. So leadership was my thing, right? I've always been an instructor in the Army, Air Force. I was an instructor for Officer Candidate School in the Army, and just, I love leadership. And whenever I would go, so that's why I started my business as a leadership consultant. Okay. Right. So whenever I would go and talk to groups about leadership, so I'll do a workshop on effective teams or crucial conversations or diversity, equity, and inclusion. And whenever I talked about leadership, I always found myself talking about fatherhood. And so like most of my anecdotes and things from leadership came from me being a father, because being a father is my most important leadership role. Yeah. So, and like, they say, the sweet spot is where you can find something you really love doing and something you can get paid to do. So I'm like, man, this leadership space is it's saturated. There's a lot of people in this space. Yeah. But what do I really love? And it's like being a father. So I was like, it started as me wanting to help fathers. And then I transitioned into like, all right, I don't just want to help fathers, since I do this co-parenting thing. And I saw how much fathers needed help in this area. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't just want to help fathers. Let me help anybody who co-parents. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna branch off to anybody who wants. That's how I started TikTok.
Okay, right? That's how you started TikToks. Okay.
It started with a Facebook page for co-parenting fathers. right? And all I was just reaching out to fathers. So I have a Facebook page for co-parenting fathers. There's close to 1,000 members in that group.
Awesome.
And I was like, man, I want to help anybody who co-parents. So boom, let me start a TikTok and I'll just talk about co-parenting. And it's like I operated under the concept, if you build it, they will come, right? So if I talk about co-parenting, whoever feeling my content, I'll draw in people.
Listen, that is powerful. That is powerful that it started from just you being, as a leadership consultant, and then you're finding what you're passionate about. You're talking and you're like, it's probably because you saw the target audience and you're like, and you're zoning in on what you love to talk about, and you being a father yourself, able to match with the leadership, and then seeing the leadership, what you are as in the home and the household, and also for your children. And you saw the impact you can give. I am grateful and thankful for you, Anthony, for doing this, because you come across people. A lot of times I come across a lot of men, in my family, and there's a lot of generational things and patterns that have happened in the midst of fatherhood. And
yes,
and it's so much, and I can't break that. It's hard for me to talk to my nephews, and thinking about my dad had to deal with co-parenting as well, and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's so much stuff that we need to change. And as a woman, sometimes you can say a lot, but it's something different to hear from a man, and especially a man has been through and is able to bring somebody else through. And so that's powerful. Yeah. And I'm sure you're able to see some, and we'll probably talk about that, but able to see some great results from what you've been able to do with a lot of these fathers out there. Like, yeah. And
yeah, for sure. Like, it's like you said, like a woman can talk to, it's only so far a woman can get trying to get through to a man. That's just how it goes. Like if it's an issue that needs to be talked about, it needs to be talked about through the to the people who are, I hate to say, who are the biggest culprits of of this whatever is existing. Sure. So it's like I used to work in the field of sexual assault, for example, right? Like, so I was a sexual assault response coordinator with the Air Force, and because men are usually the one for committing sexual assault, it needs to be men that are trying to solve the problem. Men need to address men. Like women are going to talk about it all day. Like they're going to speak their piece, and women are going to, the Me Too movement is all women. Without the support of men, like it kind of fizzles away, right? Because it's like that you get silenced as a woman sometimes when you're trying to just speak to men. But men need to talk to men. Be like, all right, this is how you conduct yourself. This is what you should and shouldn't be doing, right? Men. So if there's a lot of single moms out there, right? And, for some reason, and just in my experience, right, I'm not going to stereotype, but in my experience, I'm dealing with more single moms than I am single dads, right? And for some reason, dads feel more like they can walk away from being a parent than moms do. Like it's almost like moms, they can't fathom, you have deadbeat moms too, right? But you do. For the most part, right? Moms, it's like unfathomable for them to like walk away from their babies. Yeah. Like a dad, for some reason, sometimes they just feel like I could walk away, I could support financially and whatever, but I can walk away from this. Yeah. No, that's not. We got to shift that mindset.
It's you have to shift their mindset. And it's funny because now it's coming full circle as you're talking, that I used to work for an organization that they got their grants and funding based off of fathers. It was fatherhood grant basically for it. And so majority of the men that would come in my classrooms, either they owed child support, or if this was the last resort before them getting locked up, or having to owe like lots. We were able to talk to the courts and the judges and to knock down a lot of their payments and things like that and work out some deals with them. But they would come into our classroom and just the weight that they felt. And it's so much that I knew I could do. And they appreciated me. I helped them with building skills, life skills, relationship skills, and, we would talk about job skills and all that, because mainly it was getting them back to work. But I know it was so much weight when I did hear them, that usually when a man would walk into the room and talk to them really wholeheartedly, they woke up. They talked to me. They were like, man, you encouraged us. We love y'all. The program was great, all of the things. But it was something when a man would speak to them and we're able to show them the way and really lead them to where they could find success and not, recreate those patterns that they were into. before they got there. So I appreciate you for doing that. It's something, it's powerful when you see it, it's powerful.
Yeah. You want to learn from people who've been where you've been.
Yeah.
Or are where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and you feel like can relate to you, it's the same with anything else. If you want to learn how to be a strong business person, you want to learn from somebody who doing it, who's successful.
Yeah.
All right. So like somebody, like it's the same concept.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So y'all know what we do when guests come through. We have to ask our 3 questions just to kind of gauge what their thoughts are in regards to marriage and purpose and dating and relationships. But it's a start. So we can answer these briefly, Anthony. You don't got to go into depth. But so the first question is when we're talking about marriage and purpose colliding, right? When you're talking about that, what does that mean to you? What is your definition of marriage and purpose colliding?
So when I hear the phrase marriage and purpose colliding, like I'm not a very religious man, right? But I'm a spiritual person. And I believe that things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
So if you believe that things happen for a reason, then it's the same as like saying like God don't make mistakes, right? It's like, okay, that's the same way I look at marriage with my wife, right? Like, and when I'm talking about my purpose, the universe or whatever God that you believe in has connected you with this person.
Yeah.
All right. So we are now in alignment.
Yeah.
All right. And we support each other's purpose. So when marriage and purpose collide, it's like that's kind of like what it is. Yeah. So you've been brought into my life for something like I needed you, right? To not to complete me necessarily, but to be a part of this vision and this purpose that I see for my life. And maybe even help direct and guide me towards my purpose. So whatever, and then they become almost like I'm traveling on this road and you're traveling on that road. And like now our roads have intersected and we're on the same path together.
Yeah.
All right. So you supporting me, I'm supporting you. And that's the short answer, right?
Yeah.
Like just us combining, us coming together and supporting one another's purpose.
Yeah. No, and that's key right there. Just supporting one another. I think that's the key. And that's what you don't see a lot of that, or you don't see a lot of that because not a lot of people are vocal about their marriage. That you can see the pictures, you can see the Instagram posts and all that, but what is behind the scenes? We're trying to support one another. That's what we're trying to do. Do we do it well sometimes? I don't know, but we do the best we can, right? We do the best we can.
There's so many details that go into that too.
So many details. Okay, the next question is really like, okay, I asked you to come on, but what really compelled you to really come on this podcast and talk to us and talk to the audience?
Because first of all, I don't know, just to be frank, I like connecting with other Black people and like, you know what I'm saying, just Black people doing their thing. And so I love everybody. So just to get, but for the record, man,
you pro everybody.
I'm pro everybody, but I love connecting with my people. Right. And just in connection. I think that's what life is about. Life is about connecting with people, sharing experiences, conversation. And I'm under the mindset, like you invited me on, but I'm under the mindset that I can learn from you too. Yeah. So this is an opportunity to give my message to the masses, your audience, and an opportunity for me to learn from you. Yeah. And potentially as well, and connect with somebody who has a different experience and a different perspective to me. Like, why wouldn't I want to be a part of that? Yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
And that's the thing. It's just connection. It's just connection with that, regardless, like you said, regardless of religious beliefs, regardless of whatever it is out there. I want to learn from you. I want to learn your perspective on this issue, whether we agree, we disagree, or whether it's just, far out, or maybe we're on the same zone or whatever. This needs to be talked about. Whatever we're discussing is a conversation that needs to be talked about with open ears. So I like it. I like it. All right. Last question is, what are your thoughts surrounding the current state of singles and dating nowadays? What's happening, Anthony? What is going down?
There's so much happening. There's so much happening. Like when you talk about, so I'm gonna try to keep this brief, but there's so much you can say about this that it's like the Wild West out here when people date. It's so wild. It's like for real. Yeah. It's like, so I was actually talking to my wife about this a little while, not too long ago. And it's like there's people in my life that I know personally and I think there's a lot of people out there that they think that the missing piece is another person. Right? So like they're out here dating, trying to find this missing piece in their lives.
Yeah.
Like that once all I gotta do is find the right person and like everything is gonna fall into place.
Yeah.
When really like you stop swiping and start doing some inner work, right? Like stop looking for somebody and start searching for yourself.
Man.
And figuring out who you are, who you want to be, what your values are, what your morals are, what your non-negotiables are, like what your triggers and your trauma. Deal with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And in the process, you may find someone that is on a similar path, right? And like that you instead of searching for someone to complete you and like they're the missing piece. And like we live in this age of like authenticity is rare these days. So when you come across and you dating, you're very rarely you're meeting the authentic version of the person that's in front of you. Yeah. So it's like you don't know. There's so much deception and everything out there. It's just the dating world is so crazy. And man. I don't know. There's so much.
That's good. And I like what you said, because what it reminds me of and what I'm seeing, and I talked about it before, is once you do the work, the self-work behind the scenes before you start dating, your palette changes of who you want and who you need in your life.
Absolutely.
And so if you don't do that, of course, you're like, I'm not getting the right person. I'll keep swiping. This is not working. You're getting discouraged, form of depression. You're like, I'm never going to get married, but it's because you're not doing the work. Or so you really don't remember anything I said? I know what it is. You've been on that game with all your little friends.
Why they gotta be little friends? Anyway, you still didn't give me time to chill.
Chill? What you talking about? You got all the time in the world. Plus, you know what? What are we eating for dinner?
What do you want to eat?
Just pick up something. I don't care.
Tacos?
We had tacos a few nights ago, so no.
Chicken? Chinese? Thai?
Ugh. Fine, let's just do tacos.
Hold up. You know what? When's the last time we did check-in?
We hear all the time about how important communication is in a relationship, and most importantly, a marriage. But what does communication really look like? Well, in the Couples Check-In Communication Game Changer, we provide tips and tools on starting your own check-in. If you feel like communication is failing, or that you are both not on the same page, or you just want to try something new in your relationship, get this resource today. Visit www.lucretiahaley.com to get yours today. You're not allowing the work to just happen, right? And so you're not allowing, just let it, give us some time. What you rushing for?
Like if you keep meeting the same person, like but like the same version of a different person, like and you haven't evaluated why all your relationships are turning out the same way or ending the same way, and you haven't evaluated what role you played in it.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna keep like the life is gonna keep giving you the same lesson until you learn it. So you have to evaluate like what were my missteps? Like how do I have a problem setting boundaries? Do I have a problem like really speaking what I want up front? Like what are my issues like that are leading to the fail or collapse of these relationships, like or whatever. It's like so it's probably not all your fault, but analyze, at least do some introspection, like and analyze like what role you played in.
Exactly.
Like things not going the way you want.
Because there was a role. There was a role. Yeah. You're right. What role did I play? Even if depending on how it went, which way it went, we all have to take responsibility for the whatever it is. So I appreciate you asking those questions, answering those questions for us and being able to just give your thoughts and perspectives on it, because listen, it's needed. And so I appreciate that. So y'all, we're gonna talk about this co-parenting stuff. It's a lot let's get into it. Let's get into it. There's a lot of questions. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up to our audience and to y'all listening out there, because we know that a lot of you listen to us and we appreciate you, but you're single, you're dating, and you may be trying to find someone and they might themselves already have children. but also you might have children yourself and you're trying to navigate relationships with the other parents or trying to date again. You're like, how do I bounce back out after this? What can I do? I have to keep my children in mind. It's a lot of ways that you might be thinking about this in regards to relationships. So I was like, you know what, this is the person that we need to talk to. We need to talk to Anthony so he can kind of help us navigate this journey so I can learn more, and even I can help folks in my family, because I'm about to have some people in my family contact you tonight, right?
Hey, tell them to reach out. I'm here. That's what I do.
Okay. And so so the first question is really the defining really what a co-parenting relationship is. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think we talked about the actual word co-parent. Like, I don't think that was not talked about. We didn't ever say it like that. It was always, this is your baby mama, my baby daddy.
For sure.
We trying to get along, or we're not getting along, or we're doing well. But we never actually, I've never heard the words until recently, like maybe in the past, years or so, where it was, we actually used co-parenting. So tell us about that. What is co-parenting? What is that for people who may like, what is that? And go ahead.
Like, in short, it's two people trying, whether, no matter what gender they are, trying to raise children from two separate homes, right? Like you're no longer in a relationship. Like you could have been in a relationship, you could have been married, you could have been separated, whatever. You could have just had a baby, like, cause y'all was hooking up, but now y'all got to raise a child or some children together, right? So this has to be a cooperative thing, which is, which co-parent comes from, right? Like, we're gonna raise these children together from two different homes with two different set of ideas, two different sets of ways of doing things. We're going to figure out the best way to do it collaboratively. Right?
And that's the key. That's the key right there. It's the collaboration for me. Okay, it's the collaboration for me. And I'm in my life as I grew up, and watching my aunts and uncles, and watching the older people in my family, and even my siblings, them navigate relationships. I always saw the contention. I always saw, it wasn't always healthy when I did see it. So when I was single and I was dating, I was like, I'm not going to date a man with kids, because I always saw the bad side of it. And so I never saw the good that came out of it. And so I was just not going to do it until I got older. And I was like, well, more than likely I might meet somebody. I was more open and comfortable to doing that. But we're going to get into that. I didn't went ahead, but
that's okay.
As far as really, like, I want to tell the story behind your co-parenting journey. Like where did it begin to where you were like, you had to keep this, where the relationship, had to go whatever way it went, and then you actually had to navigate waters co-parenting. What was that like for you? What happened in your journey?
It was very difficult in the beginning. Okay. Because I didn't have my father in my life when I write it. We might talk about this, but I write about this in my book. Yeah. Like I just released a co-parenting book recently. But
we don't talk about that, Anthony. We cannot leave without talking about that. Okay.
So I talk about this in my book, and how, like, me and my kid's mom, we were together for like about 7 years or so. And we had our children, we were engaged, we never got married. But I think, like, both of us knew that the relationship we weren't right for each other. We were trying to stay together for the kids. So I had this idea, and I think, like most people might have, if you wanted to have kids, you have this idea of what kind of parent you want to be. My father wasn't in my life, so the father that I wanted to be was the father that provided a nuclear home for his kids, like, that stayed with the mom. We got married. I was there every day after school, tucking them in bed every night. That's the father that I envisioned myself being. So when I realized that we weren't going to be together, it crushed me. Like, because I'm like I'm about to be a part-time dad. It, like, decimated the vision of the father that I wanted to be. So I was immediately viewed myself as a failure. Like, and the most difficult decision I've ever made, to, like, finally decide, like, all right, well, we got to split up. And because it was all about how I viewed myself as a father.
Yeah.
And like in the beginning, it was contentious, just like a lot of relationships are, because we had there was some bitterness and with the breakup and you know it gets hectic when people start dating other people and like there's always something, we point fingers at each other trying, it became a competition instead of like us being cooperative, right? And so it was a slow process. Like we actually lived in the same house for a year after we broke up, because we were trying to do financially. That's what made the most sense, right? So, and it was tough, and like we talked about in the beginning of this, it didn't take until we started doing our self work for our co-parenting relationship to change. It all starts with you.
Yeah.
So until we both started doing that and really were intentional about that, it was a little hectic in the beginning. It wasn't easy. So that was just like, that's kind of how we got there. And then we've just been working to make it really good. We're in a great place. We have a great co-parenting relationship now.
Man. Okay. So you talked about the self-work part and you talked about the heartbreak that happened, right? You talked about how you never imagined you mentioned you both being together and really raising children together and, lifelong. So what did it take for you to get out of that? Like, what kind of work did you have to do, first off, to release not having the relationship, to grieve the relationship, right? And then what type of work did it take for you to even have the relationship that you have now with the other parent? What was that? Because I can imagine how hard that was, to even just to know like, okay, we're not going to be together. I have to put that in my mind. So talk about that a little bit.
So I had to operate under, like, if you operate under the mindset, right? Like the title of my book is called "It's Not About You."
Okay.
All right. So if you operate under the mindset that this is not about me, right? And then like, how do I separate? So first, if you need to go to therapy, you need to go to therapy. Let's start there, right?
Yes.
Like take your butt to counseling, hire you a coach, go to therapy. Like it's necessary for most people, if not all people, right?
Yeah.
So, and use somebody to help you evaluate your thoughts and what's going on in your mind and your heart. And then understand, like I said, if I operate in the mindset that this is not about me and this is about my kids, then I can start separating my feelings and, from what is actually best. All right. So like, I got to be able to separate my emotions and my feelings from my decision-making process about what I'm doing with my kids.
Yeah.
And then it came to like, this is me understanding, getting the help that I needed, understanding like, what's working and what's not working. I actually did an assessment from this course that I'm going through right now about what are my, it's kind of like evaluates your personality and things like that. So one of the things that I'm hyper like rational or something like that. So my rational mind has to take over and be like, okay, this is not working. What else do I need to do? Right. So I would go in, like I would go into a new apartment, right? And I'm to drop the kids off and it's messy. Right. And I'm like, come on, like what, like, can we keep it a little bit cleaner here? I'm immediately in judgment mode.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So I had to get out of judging the other person, right? Because like it's like we judge people for sinning differently than we do, right? So, oh, your house is messy. Like you can't fathom like how somebody can keep a messy house, right?
Yeah.
But they can't fathom how you can bounce from relationship to relationship. Right. So it's like you just sin in a different way. Like your mess is just different. Right. So instead of like thinking about how I can criticize her, how can I support her? Because her happiness is directly correlated to the happiness of my children. So this is not a competition. I don't need to be seen as better. That's about working your own stuff out, right? That's the self-work. Like, do you need to see yourself as better as the other parent? Then you got some work to do.
Yeah.
Right. Or do you want to team up and be partners with your other parents so your kids can live the best life that they can live? So instead of going in the house, dropping them off and saying, oh, can you clean up in here? while she's giving them a bath and like getting them ready for bed, I'm cleaning up the kitchen.
Okay.
Or like I'm going in the kids' room and saying, "Hey, let daddy help you pick up in here. Let daddy help you clean up your room a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
And like now it's a team. Now we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So think about how best we can be a team and not work against each other.
Yeah.
But it's a process.
No, that's good. It sounds like you had to just find, like, you had to go through it in order to, you had to know about yourself and what you were kind of doing that could be improved and how to help. It's kind of like you still have to serve the other person, even when you're not, like, you know how in marriage, in counseling that we went to premarital counseling and all that, it's like you have to serve. It's always a sacrifice that you have to give. And so in that, it sounds like there's still a sacrifice, even not being with that person. Like sometimes we just cut it off and be like, well, you done. You over there. I'm over here. Right. Why do I have to do the extra? Why do I have to go 100% for you? But you're talking about how the kids in mind and how her happiness leads to the kids' happiness and a happy household, and then vice versa to you too. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I had to view it as a forever partnership. Right. Like, so just like my partnership with my wife is forever. Like if we got flaws, we're not gonna like continuously criticize each other for our flaws. We're gonna accept that people are flawed, and we're gonna help support each other and trying to improve as best as we can. It's the same with my kid's mom. Like our partnership is forever because we got kids together.
Yeah. Now, because I know people are like, okay, this sounds really great. Like it sounds like it's all peachy. Like y'all great now. How long did it take for this to be okay? Like how long did it take for it to get that way to where it is now? Would you say?
Fortunately for us, it wasn't too long.
Okay.
So let me preface this by saying like that sometimes getting to this place is not possible. I want people to know that. Like people need to know that sometimes that getting to this place, sometimes it's not possible. So you have every situation is so different.
Yeah.
Right. Like there may be some people who never because we both decided to do the work. What if one person decides that they're not going to do the work?
Yeah.
Right. You can't make them. You can't force them to change. So then that's where coaching comes into play. Right. That's why I do what I do. Yeah. So, but for us, it didn't take long. Why? Because we both had the kids in mind. We both decided we were going to put the kids first. Right. We both decided that we were going to start working on ourselves. Yeah. I stopped pointing the finger at her. Like I made a choice to stop pointing the finger. Like, and so what I did, one of the things that I did was if we were at my son's baseball game, I would talk to her. We always communicated. Like I would talk to her about like things that I wanted to improve. Okay. Right. And like I would point out my own flaws. Right. And just like, you know what? Like we'd be at the baseball game. I'm like, you know what? I really want to make sure I'm keeping up with the laundry. Like this is something I want to do. I want to make sure like kids were playing a lot of sports. So, I want to make sure I've been feeding the kids fast food too much. Right? I want to make sure that I'm like, making sure the kids are helping, getting good meals. Like, what she would do, she would send me some crock pot meals or something like that. Or she would send, and it was like, and instead of me saying, I want to feed the kids better food, she like, instead of her saying like, well, I told you, like right. Like that's what happens in a lot of co-parenting relationships. Yeah. Like the other person is looking to one up the other one. Right. So if both people are committed, it don't take long.
It don't take long to do that. If both people are committed, it shouldn't take long. Basically,
if both people, which is a big if.
Yeah. And I can only imagine depending on how the relationship ended too. And who's in your ear, because
that matters.
It's family involved, it's voices from other people, they're, depending on if someone's married or if they're, if they didn't get married, but the other person's family gets involved. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Everybody is in the text conversation talking about what such and such didn't do, and all that.
That's so heavy. That's so real. That's so real. And it's like hard to, if you don't know yourself, and you're not comfortable, if you don't trust yourself in the decisions that you've made in your life, and you've made a lot of mistakes, it leaves you open to something very dangerous, which is other people's opinions. Right? So you getting it from your mother, your grandmother, your sister, your friends, your boys. Like, everybody got an opinion about something, and everybody ain't the right person to be taking advice from. Right? So that's tough. That makes it, and like you said, it depends on how the relationship ends, just like you said.
And that's where you said, like, it might not be a solution, for that. It might just be where, like you said, you coach that person who's like, I can't get through. It's dead end, kind of situation.
So, I've had this conversation with a lot of men, right? Because a lot of times, just in my experience, men were the ones who were like cheated or something, right? So like, that's how the relationship ended, because the man was cheating, and now I got a bitter baby mama, and she don't want to let me see the kids. Like, she holding that against me because I cheated. However, right? So you have to, for my men, or for anybody who cheated, right? This ain't just for my men. This for anybody who cheated, and you were in the wrong. You're the reason why the relationship ended, quote unquote, right? And you have to understand, a lot of men in those scenarios, they want to just move past it and say, okay, can we put that in the past, and can we just parent our children, right? Right? I get it. Right? Like, you're like, okay, that's over with. Like, can we stop talking about that? Like we got to parent these kids now.
That's so hard.
But what you don't understand, and what you are not factoring in, is that you're dealing with a human being, right, with feelings and emotions, right? So you have to, in a shorter sense, you have to understand and treat them like a human being, and you have to own your stuff. You gotta do what you would want to teach your children to do. Is you gotta own your stuff and take accountability. If we still gotta work together, I gotta own my. It may not work. It may not smooth things over completely, but I at least gotta own my stuff. Without like pointing the finger, without then pointing the finger back at you. Right. If I cheated or did you wrong, after the relationship ended, I at least gotta own it. I gotta sit down. At some point, I gotta say to you, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for the pain I caused you. It has to be sincere, and it has to be genuine. Like, I know that I hurt you. I know that I'm like, this makes things difficult because now we apart. I don't know if we can ever fix it, right? But like, I'm sorry, and I was wrong, and here's why I was wrong. And all, like you gotta give a genuine apology, because sometimes people that's what they need, that, and that's what helps them get to the next step of forgiveness and being in a better place with you. So so that could be the first step for a lot of people.
Is that forgiveness piece? Is that apology piece from the person that they were hurt from? You're saying to
from the person that caused the hurt.
Right? Yeah, that's deep. Like, so when you're talking about your journey, and as you're working through the relationship or ending the relationship, and then now figuring out that co-parenting is what you needed to do, and all these things, who did you go to? Like, now we know we have you out there as somebody to go to, but who did you go to? Well, who was your escape, or the person that you got, you finally was able to talk to and get healing from, or figure out what the next steps?
Everybody needs a mentor, right? Okay. I think everybody should have a mentor. Like, you find you that's why your circle is important. Like, you build and create a strong circle. Or if your circle is not strong, you seek out people who live by the values that you want to live, right? Seek out people who have great relationships, who have great marriages, who are doing well in their lives. And you like, hey, you talk to them, and you become a very good seeker of knowledge and information, right? And you become a very good listener. Right? You learn how to shut up and listen to people who know what they're talking about. So you go to anybody that you can. Right. And like, really, like I said, like, your circle matters. If you got like people in your circle just like talking nonsense, like, you gotta do something about that. You gotta get the toxicity out your ear.
Ooh, the toxic friends, family members, all of that. You're gonna have to fight past it. It sounds like you got to fight past it and really know, like, you got to switch your perspectives around. You need somebody to help you do that. Somebody to keep you, I'm sure, accountable so that you can make the right choices or right steps. Okay. Like, I'm about to veer off. I need somebody to pull me back. Like, I got to go talk to her again. I got to go pick up the kids again. I know what I'm about to see. Like, can you help? All of the things, all of the things. And I can only imagine if some of the people in my life would have had mentors to go to, and someone to have that be that listening ear. I mean, we were a listening ear to them, of course. We were able to tell them, like, okay, just go in there. It's okay. Just come back out. If she's doing this, don't worry about this. We love you. We love the kids. Just do what you got to do, kind of deal, take the responsibility. But it's just needing that person, somebody to be that soundboard, I'm sure.
Yeah. And if you don't and if you can afford it, go to counseling, right? If you can afford it, go to counseling. If you can afford it, get a coach. That's why it's so important. Because as I mentioned before, if you have a history of making decisions that didn't pan out, you just listening to anybody who will give advice sometimes.
Ooh.
Right. And so because you don't trust yourself enough.
Yeah.
So sometimes you ask and you getting information from people and it ain't good information.
And it's not. Or you're listening to folks on social media. You passing the word around, like you posting on, sharing things and all that stuff. It's just too much. It's too much. Like, take that stuff down. That's all voices that you don't need to be hearing right now in order to make you move forward. And that's for anybody, co-parenting or not, kind of deal. So I appreciate you sharing that. So now I kind of want to transition things into this whole, the dating and relationships. You mentioned it before. If you're now in a healthy relationship, or maybe not, you might not be in a healthy relationship with the other parent, but now you're you separated, you want to start dating, what does that look like? Like, how do you do it the right way? I know people who do it, I've seen people do it the wrong way, but how should you go about this to where you're respecting the other parent and you're still putting your children first? Like, what does that look like, or what did that look like for you?
So for us, that looked like, first of all, it looked like communication at first, right? Exactly. Like, we have to communicate, right? So what do we, when it comes to dating, how are we going to handle this? Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody if you co-parenting with somebody and y'all are communicating somewhat effectively, communicate on what this looks like. What are the expectations, right? One of the expectations that me and my kids' mom had was that if we gonna let somebody meet the kids, we're gonna tell the other parent, right? Like, it can be whatever it looks like, whatever you want it to look like for you. Like, it don't have, whatever works for you. So, but communicate so everybody knows what the expectations are.
Yeah.
So, and it can't be like one person dictating and the other person, so it has to be like a collaborative thing. And then I also think you gotta, and I want to, something, that was on that list is like, how do you, I don't know if we want to get into this yet, but introducing people,
You can go ahead.
Like, how are you gonna introduce people, or when do you introduce the person you're dating to, your kids and things like that? How does that factor in? All right. For me, I say whenever this is starting to get serious.
Okay.
Right. Because some people have they got like a 3-month or 6-month or these arbitrary numbers or time frames that really don't mean anything. Right. What means something, because you could be dating somebody for however long, and if if it's not serious, it's not serious.
Right.
But if you communicated with the person you're dating and both of y'all have agreed, this thing is serious. Like, I'm feeling you, you feeling me. Right. And we want to take this thing to another level, more than dating. Then as soon as you can after that, I think you introduce the kids into the situation. Right. It don't it could be something small, like, oh, I'm taking my kids to the park. Do you want to come? Do you want to? So they, so you at least interact. So you could do it in baby steps, right? But I think as soon as you can, you start putting the kids into the mix, because you need to know if this is going to get serious. You need to know what this is going to look like.
Yeah.
I need that person to be around my kids. I need to see how they interact with my kids. Like I can't be dating for somebody for a year and never introduce them to my kids. And
Right.
then once they get around my kids, they don't know how to act around my kids. They talking to my kids weird or bad.
Ooh,
they
that's a
like,
whole
you know, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like you get to see a different side of a person. So if your kids are gonna remain a constant, so as soon as you know it's getting serious, like start introducing them and bringing them into the equation. Like because like you said, this may not work. It may not work for the other person once they meet your kids.
It might not gel well. They might be like, listen, you got, like, or I've heard it like a lot of the some of the women I coach or even that I speak with, they was like, the kids gotta be babies. Like, or they gotta be older. Like they have a preference of the type of child or children they can deal with. Cause they're like, if it's a baby, I don't want to be changing diapers and stuff, or whatever. Or of course they want children of their own. And so they're thinking of like the dynamics of the older child and if they have so it's a whole thing, it's a whole thing.
You free to have your preferences, right? You free to have your preferences, and just know that that's going to minimize your dating pool and your options, right? So you're definitely free to have your preferences.
It is
because, like you said, if you say I don't want somebody who got teenagers, like because maybe you know yourself, right? Maybe you're not equipped to deal with what teenagers bring, like the problems, and you're like, you know what, I don't want that drama in my life. Right? That's you free to have your preferences. As long as you understand that's gonna limit your dating options.
Now, talk about, and maybe this is probably coming from some of your clients that you may have worked with, but bringing the news that you're dating someone or that is serious to the other parent, like, and them possibly not agreeing with it, or maybe they're like, I don't know about her, I don't know about him. Like, the kind of deal. They're leery about this other person. How do you handle that? You're sure about them. You're comfortable with them. They met the kids, they all that. But now they saw, they're like, like, I don't trust them.
So this is given, this response is given the fact that you are cordial with your kids, with your co-parent, right? And y'all communicate well. Like, I'm gonna leave the option open. Like, if you're not comfortable, like you can meet. You want to meet them? Y'all can sit down and have a conversation. Right? Like that's how I feel. Like,
that's big.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to you're gonna be around my kids. I want to meet you. Like my kid's mom, her boyfriend now. Like when they started seriously dating, like I want to know him. I want to meet him. All right, so let's have a conversation. He gonna come to the baseball game? Like I'm gonna rap with him. So I don't. If everything is cool and copacetic, I should be okay with them meeting each other. But everybody is not in that type of situation. Some people are in very toxic situations who dealing with a very contentious, co-parent. In that case, like some of those rules don't apply.
Sure. Right? The meeting with the other person and trying to sit down with them, that ain't gonna happen. It ain't even.
Because you're gonna act a fool. Look, if I already know you're gonna act a fool, then it's different, right? But like, because your history has shown this is how you act in the past. No, we're not doing that. Like, I trust them. You're just gonna have to trust my judgment, and I'm gonna have to trust yours.
Yeah, that's it. It's gonna have to just.
Right? That's how it's gonna have to be.
Yeah.
Right? I'll let you as a courtesy. I will let you know that I'm dating somebody and that they are gonna be around the kid when they're gonna be around the kids. But if you've been acting a fool, I don't need to meet each other because you don't know how to act.
Because you need to stop it right there because it's not gonna work. So basically, you just saying like just trust. You have to trust me. Basically, you have to trust whoever is in that type of relationship, and the other parent is not. They just ain't with it. They're off the handle type of person. You just know it's kind of like, listen, because you have to move on. Like you have to move on, and sometimes they're holding on to something. I don't know what they're holding on to. What it might be. They're holding on to something, and they don't want to see you. Just be great.
Yeah. They trying to control how you. A lot of those situations, people are still trying to control how you live your life, and you can't allow that. Right? You got to move on. You got to live your life. You deserve to be in a good, happy, healthy relationship. So if they can't deal with that's their problem to deal with.
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation where you had to work with someone and the other parent just wasn't involved at all. Like, and where they're trying to make something happen. And so now so basically this person is, I'm gonna talk about from this angle. This person's dating, I had someone who she's dating a guy who had children, and the other parent just was not involved. Just the mom just was not there. And, or I'll stop right there because I have another situation, but the other parent just wasn't involved. And so they're like, I don't know, how I view that, you know what I'm saying? So what, from the person that's dating that person, like, how should they perceive that if they're going into a relationship and the other, maybe, and it could be where, they broke up, or the mom just is not there, or whatever it is, however they broke up. But if I'm dating you and I know that this is out there, it's a weight that I might be feeling because I have to step into that role now. I'm most likely going to have to be the stepmom, and knowing that the mom is not there, like, give your perspective on that. What's your take on that? How could you go about that particular relationship if that's the case?
Well, I think like communication is the answer to most of these things, right? Like so first I got to know for myself, am I prepared to do that? Right? Am I prepared to take on this role as a potential stepmom to whoever, however many kids there may be?
Yeah. Secondly,
I need to find out what this other person's expectations of me are. Maybe they don't expect that from me. Right? So like the one thing I cannot do is I can never assume anything.
Yeah.
So I can't go into a situation and assume you want me to be a stepmom, you want me to come in and teach them how to, help them do laundry, you want me to cook meals, prepare lunches and all this. Find out what this person expects of you. As your partner, what do you need? What do you need from me? What are your expectations as far as my role in your kids' life? Right? And let them express what their expectations are, and you determine whether or not you can deal with that, whether or not that's something that you're ready for. And then you get to make a decision. Like, this is for me or it's not for me. Right? So but what I can't do is I can't make any assumptions. I can't assume that just because the kids are with you and that, maybe you hard to deal with because it's your fault that they mom not around, or the other person not around. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong? What did you do that make this other parent not want to come around? I can't assume anything.
Yeah.
I ask, if I do have assumptions, I do my best to resolve those assumptions with questions.
Ooh, that's good. And I think that's the key right there. I know that I didn't know how to dive into that. I remember when I was out there dating before I met my husband, and I was open to dating men with children, I was scared to ask questions because I didn't know what to ask. Like, I didn't know what to ask to get to the point. So if I knew he was a good father, like, what happened in the relationship, is this going to be, I don't want no baby mama drama. I just want to date you. I want to be there for the kids. Like, it was so much that went on in my mind where I didn't even know how to ask certain questions that I needed to see if it was, because all I dated was men with no children. And so it's a part of it was a part of me that's like, there's a huge weight there. Like, like, so how do you ask those questions?
I think
like,
that's
when
natural.
should you start asking those questions like that? Like, and what type of questions should you? I know I threw a lot of stuff.
No, you good. I think that's normal. And like, I think for me, I think like you got to do whatever you can to stop the inner chatter, the inner noise. Right. Because like these things that you're saying, like, I don't know how to ask it. Like, I'm wondering this, I'm wondering that. There's no way to resolve that. Like, all you're doing is going to go keep spinning in your own mind. So like, when you dating somebody, I think for me personally, I need to be able to communicate with people. Right. And if you're somebody who I can't communicate with and ask like questions that's going to impact me, then that seriously impacts my one desire to even date you. Right. So can we talk about hard things? Yeah. Right. That's part of the criteria that I expect in a partner. Can we discuss hard things? Yeah. And if we can't, then maybe that's an eliminator for me even being with you. Right. but everybody is not the same, right? So I can't expect everybody to be like me. But what I can ask, a question that I can ask is, hey, look, listen, there are a lot of things that I'm curious about. Are there any questions that are out of bounds? Right, are there any topics that you feel uncomfortable discussing? And what are my left and right limits? Like, let me know. Is there anything that's out of bounds? Because I'm curious about. I like you, and I'm curious about some things. And so, see how open they are to communicating with you. If they give you a free pass, right? If they say no, nothing's out of bounds. Like, ask me what you want to ask me. I'm an open book. All right, here we go. Like, I'm gonna ask what I want. So see how open somebody is, like, because like you said, you don't want to go because you don't want to rub like people coming on dates. You don't know people, like they might be. You don't want to rub somebody the wrong way if you don't have to.
Exactly.
So,
but it's best
ask them what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and that's the key. Just having those, you got to have those hard conversations, especially if you're trying to bring someone else into your life and you're trying to invite them in. You got to have some point of vulnerability that has to be met. And so I want to know, like, how is a relationship? Like, what happened? Like what, and it's not to get too deep in the details, but sometimes you got to know, because I'm like, what am I getting myself into is what we really want to know. We want to know, like, what am I about to see or not see? Is she okay with you and me? Like,
you got to get good. So asking good questions is a skill, right? Like, it's a skill to be able to ask good questions.
Yeah.
So, like, if you ask somebody about a relationship, a good question you could ask somebody if you're trying to find out about their relationship. If you ask somebody why did the relationship end? If they only saying negative stuff about the other person, that might be kind of a red flag. So you can follow up a question like, okay, well, a good question you can follow up with is to see what they're going to say is, looking back on your relationship, like, what could you have done differently? Is there anything you feel like you could have done differently and just see what they say, right? And if somebody who refuses to take any accountability or blame, like, that's, for me, that's like a red flag. Like, you say I could have, nothing I could have did differently. I was perfect, Like,
I did nothing wrong.
Very rarely is that the case.
Right, exactly. And that's good. And that's the communication. And I like how you said good communication is a skill. And I feel like out there right now, it's a lot of just the communication is off when it comes to that, period. Communication is off. It's not there. I'm trying to get the answers. You're not giving me the answers. I'm trying to feel you out, and you're something's missing. You're not. And a lot of times I hear from the woman's point of view is that the men aren't communicating to them. Like, it's a block there. It's like, why are you not asking me stuff? Like, ask me something about me. Like, get to know me. Like,
well,
the surface stuff,
So a lot of things, like, sometimes, like, so I give I do a workshop on crucial conversations, right? And, like, one of the things a lot of times people don't know how to ask good questions, right? Or they don't know how to ask. There's a thing called open and honest questions, right? So, and you want to be able to ask open and honest questions. So what that means is you're asking a question. Can you hear my dog work?
Just slightly, but it's okay.
So it's okay. One of the things you have to be able to ask. Somebody need to get that under control. So the hallmark and the key to an open and honest question is that the asker of the question can't possibly know the answer. Right? So I'm asking this question with just, like, genuine curiosity. So, as I was saying, people aren't really good at asking questions. So people ask questions a lot that put people on a defense, right? Oh, you might be on a date with somebody and they tell you they broke up with their ex. So, no, did you cheat on her? What'd you do? Did you cheat on? Like, that's not an open and honest question, right? That's a question that puts somebody on a defense.
Sure.
All right. And it's like, okay, like, why is it? Instead of asking, like, an open question, like, oh, so tell me what happened. All right, like, tell me more about that. Or tell me what happened. What would you say is the cause of your relationship ended? Like, something like that, to where it's not like a judgment type question or like something like that. So you have to And to give another example, because you don't know why. Like a lot of people ask questions that stem from their own experience.
Yeah, they project it.
Right? They're projecting, right? So for example, if your parents got divorced and right, and my parents also got divorced, and it was really horrible for me. Right? And like as soon as your parents got divorced, I was like, oh man, that must have been pretty horrible, huh? I'm projecting onto you, right? Because it was horrible for me.
Got you.
Right. So, because it was horrible for me, like everybody whose parents get divorced, it must be horrible. That must have been really horrible.
Yeah.
But it might not have been horrible for you. Right. You might have been happy that your parents got divorced because you saw them fighting for years and you couldn't wait till they got divorced. Right. So, an open and honest question in that scenario would be, how did that make you feel? Right. And then you have the floor to answer it, like how it actually made you feel. Right? Good. How did that make you feel? Oh, actually, you know what? I was glad. I couldn't wait till they got divorced. You know what I mean? And like instead, like, oh man, that must have been horrible. My parents got divorced too, so that must have been. Now you might feel like you have to feel bad. You know, so you don't make it to the person. So ask open and honest questions. Ask better questions, people.
Ask better questions. Both women and men out there, please do just ask better questions. I'm gonna have to teach a course on asking better questions. It sounds like.
No, for sure, people need it. Like a lot of people do.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So I want to get your take on this too, on dating and finding out that the person that you're dating isn't an active parent. And you're like, okay, how should I take this? Because there's a lot of reasons, and some is not necessarily because it's not active, but as far as long distance is concerned, so it's hard, traveling, getting to see the kids, that could be one of the things. But also maybe they're in town, they live in the neighborhood, okay? And you're now wanting to get to know this person, and you're dating, and you're like, oh, you haven't heard them. You heard them say children, or kids or a child or whatnot. And you're like, well, I haven't heard much about them. They haven't said anything about their children, or they say that I haven't seen them. I don't know. Like, what's your take on that? Like, should you continue with the person? Should you a side eye that? Is that a side eye?
Yeah, like it depends on man, that for me, I'm the type that I always need more information.
Yeah.
However, if I know and see that you are not actively in your child's life, that is a huge red flag for me.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not somebody who I want to date.
Yeah.
If you tell me like, okay, oh well, the other parent don't let me see him or something like that, and I'm like, okay, I need more information. Right? I'm not gonna make a judgment based on just one thing, right? Because there's always two sides to a story, right? Or three sides, some people say, right? But if you're not doing nothing to try to be involved in your kids' lives, and it's like you just like you don't gave up or something, right? I'm like, no, that's when you become a active contributor in whatever else happens. Like you become, a willing participant in whoever this person is.
Wow.
You've seen part of their character. You've seen that they don't take care of their kids or they're not involved in their kids' lives. Like then you really have to manage your expectations. And like, and I see a lot of people who have children with people who also have children that they are not a part of their lives. And they wonder and they can't understand why they're not active in their kids' lives. Like what did you expect? Like what did you expect? They showed you who they were. Right? Like they already got kids and they don't take care of them, and now you had a child with this person and expected them to take care of your child. Like it's foolish. Right? Like I understand that people do it, and like and I don't say that in a judgmental way. I just it's foolish to think that things are going to be different.
Yeah, and that's huge right there, because it's like you said something big. Is just the character. It's already the character trait. You already talked about in the beginning how being a leader being a father is a leader. And and it's like, if you see that and you see that they're not in some way, shape, or form trying to fight, at least, it's got to be a fight somewhere.
It's got to be a fight.
It's got to be a fight. It's the whole hands up thing that I see a lot of times where they're like, she don't let me. I'm like, I get that, but it's always a but. I get that, but what you doing? What you doing? Or he won't let me. Normally it's the other way around. I never really heard too much cases where it's the woman trying to fight as much. But
and if there's anybody out there like that, if you're listening to this and you in a situation where you can't see your kids, like a lot of people, like, so in my men's group, a lot of people say, well, I don't have the money for a lawyer. Go and represent yourself. Like, I don't like do something, do whatever you can. There's a lot of men out there that represent themselves. Right? Like, if you go and you want custody of your children, if you know you a good person, and you hold down a job, you got decent living, you got somewhere that the kids can come and live and stay when they come see you.
Yeah.
Go represent yourself, right? And just say, I want to see my kids. File a petition, file for custody, whatever you gotta do. Don't make excuses. Like,
don't make excuses.
And don't sit on your hands and do nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's too important. Fatherhood is too important. Or just parenthood, like, for moms too. Like, but I'm just, like I said, in my experience, I've seen a lot of dads just like sit back and like, oh, she don't let me see the kids.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you?
You gotta do something.
Are you doing anything?
And there's a lot of people that help you. I didn't realize how much help is out there until I started working in the field, to help you handle your court case and handle everything you need to represent yourself. Like, it's people out there that are willing to support you.
Yes.
To do that.
Yes.
You just gotta ask
a ton
for
of
help.
Information out there.
You just gotta ask for help, and that's hard too for some people.
Oh yeah. That's where that self-work that we've been talking about this whole podcast coming.
Yeah.
If you know you got a problem asking for help, that is getting in the way of you, and that's getting in the way of you being an active father or parent in your kids' lives. Go get help for that.
Go get help for that. So, Anthony, as we are coming to a close, I want to ask you about your coaching program, and what you actually do for the fathers. It's mainly fathers, right? Or is it?
It's fathers and most of my clients right now are women, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Women are more, like, in my experience, women are more likely to seek help than men.
We just talked about good. We just said that. Ask for help.
Your dads need to get off your butt and get help.
Listen, come on, man. And he here too. Listen to him. He's knowledgeable about everything. So take us on a journey about, like, some of the elements that someone would get in your program. Like, how are you helping them through this co-parenting journey? What are some of the things you talk about with them, you discuss with them?
So every client's program is different, because, like, I'm gonna create, there's some things that we may do and we're gonna do with most people, right? But, like, I'm gonna take your situation, and I think that's why I think what I do is kind of unique. Is, like, I really pride myself on really listening, because my first session, if you sign up with coaching for me, my first session does not count towards what you paid for. Like, it's essentially like my first session is an hour and a half, and I get to know you, right? So that's after we do a consultation. That's after whatever. Our first session, we just get to know you. Like, I need to ask all the questions. I'll get all the background information. You can ask me any questions you want to ask me about what this program is going to look like. And then we develop a plan specific to you and your situation. Okay. Right? Like, what are your main issues, right? Are you having problems setting boundaries? Is this person not being active in your kids' lives? Okay. Are they, what's going on? Right. And then, we help you navigate those roadblocks. And most of the time, a lot of it is me helping people figure out how they're getting in their own way. All right. So, because a lot of people, they come and they tell me everything that makes it difficult to co-parent with this person. Right. But have you ever asked yourself what makes it difficult to co-parent with you? Right. And so we navigate we navigate it from every angle. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. I'm not going like, but I'm definitely going to be as supportive as I can. Like I'm like in the trenches with you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, cause I love what I do and I'm going to help you. And not only because I have a background in, I'm a master resilience trainer. Took a lot of leadership courses and training, with my military experience.
Yeah.
And I'm helping you become the best version of you while we're working on your co-parenting relationship. Right. Like my longest client that I have, she was having a hard time dealing with her ex because he was just very controlling. And after a month of working together, we stopped talking about him completely. Wow. Right. And we don't even talk about him anymore. We've been working on her marriage. We've been working on her relationship with her kids. We've been working on getting her back in shape. We've been working on it's like now that because of what happens in a lot of, especially with the moms that I've seen, they get caught up in being a mom and they lose themselves. So, and which is easy to do.
Yeah.
Being a mom.
Yeah.
Right?
I know, Dan.
Because it's all, especially if your kids is active, they in sports, they in extracurriculars, they got all that stuff going on at school, and you just like, I'm a mom. Like that's when you ask a mom, how do you who are you? I'll say I'm a mom first.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a mom. So who are you outside of being a mom? And a lot of times that's a hard question to answer for moms. Like, who are you outside of being a mom? So if that's something you're struggling with, we figure that out. Who are you outside of being a mom?
That's good.
What do you love? What are you passionate about? What are your values? Let's explore all of these things, and let's get you to a place in your co-parenting relationship where you found peace and acceptance, where you've worked on everything you can work on, and then you found peace and acceptance for what is, right, and the things you cannot change, because that's super important.
Yeah.
So yeah, because when you're co-parenting, because what happens if you're co-parenting and the other person is not doing their part? Right, as I always like to say, it's like preparing a meal. Right, parenting is like preparing a meal, and both parents bring in their different ingredients, right, to raising this child. I'm good at this, you're good at that. We're bringing our ingredients, right? But what happens if the other parent doesn't show up with their ingredients? You still have to prepare the best meal you can possibly prepare with the ingredients that you have. So that's what we do.
That's good. I like that analogy that you made with the ingredients. And it's something because I've noticed and with family that it was time that healed the relationship. Without they didn't have anybody to talk to, they didn't have a coach, they didn't have that. It was time, but I also know that there was some broken pieces within the 20-year relationship. The kids grown, they in college, they moved out the house, they have their own kids, all the things, but still there's never was repair with that, or repair within themselves. So the self-work still wasn't really done. They just moved on. They might have got married, had other kids. And so it sounds like what you're doing is helping them along the journey with their kids now, if they could be young, they could be older or whatnot, but still just being able to get them back to themselves so they can be whole, so they can be healed in a way to where they can still live life freely. I still feel like there's still bondage, if you never do it, you never get the assistance, the help, there's still bondage there, there's still hurt there, there's still some things going on there, and 20, 30 years, 40 years down the road, it's still something there that you never got fixed. So why not repair now? Why not start now and get repaired now,
Exactly. That's what coaches and counseling does for you. You may be able to get to if you're intentional, you'll be able to get to a good place in your co-parenting relationship. Maybe you can get there in 5 years. But if with a coach, maybe you get there in 1. Right? So just do it. If you where do you value? You got to figure out where you place value in these things, and what you spending your money on, right? Based on what you value. So
that's good. That's good. So you got a book, sir. You got some things happening that's out here that people need to know about. Tell us the things. What's going on in your world? How can people get this amazingness that you offer? Tell us all about you and what people can do to get connected with you and get this book and what the book's about, all the stuff.
All right. So I don't know if you post a video to this, but this is my book right here.
Okay.
But it's not about you, right? These are my 10 principles, right? That I think that you need to establish a strong co-parenting foundation, right? So you and your kids can thrive. And those 10, so I have 10 principles, and then there's a bonus chapter if you feel like your co-parenting situation is good and you want to take it to the next level. And I also have a chapter called "A Message for the Hopeless." So for people who feel like they'll never be able to co-parent with their child's mom or their child's father, so there's a message for the hopeless in there. So I wanted this book to be a quick and easy read to even people who don't feel like they're readers, that they could pick it up and like, I could read this over the weekend. And I wanted it to be as easy to read as possible. And I wanted it to be something that when you read it, it brings out more questions in you and you want to know more and you're willing to seek out help and more like information. So I didn't put everything in there. So my next book is going to be, you're the first person I'm telling this. My next book is going to be just for fathers. But I'm also going to use this book to ask my readers how can I go deeper? And I want to go deeper in the next one. And I take a really deep dive into co-parenting and just figure out all the issues people are experiencing and put that all into one, like a bigger book and go take a deeper dive. So, but yeah, it's like we talk about communication, we talk about scheduling, all this stuff in this book. My 10th principle, which is my favorite, which I don't think people talk about a lot with co-parenting, is empathy. So I think it's a very important skill to have is empathy. I think we should all have that when it comes to our co-parenting relationships with just in life in general.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, y'all, this book. If y'all don't go and grab this book now, I know you're listening like, I'm not in a co-parenting. I'm not doing. Buy it for somebody else. But somebody. Okay, or
Amazon.
Read it. Read it.
It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get it anywhere.
Yeah.
Visit the links if you follow me on social media. I'm the co-parenting coach on TikTok. I'm AJ, the co-parenting coach on Instagram. And my website is the co-parentingjourney.com. So you can get my book on my website as well. My links to, you go to my social media, you get the links to my podcast, all my stuff. So you can reach out to me any way that works for you.
And y'all, we're going to post it in the description, the link to how you can reach out to him if you're needing assistance with anything, or you want to be coached by him, you want to get access to whatever he's offering. And also we'll post the book link as well, so y'all can grab that book and buy 2 for yourself and for somebody else. Okay. Because they need to get this. They need to get this. This is so important. I'm personally going to buy one for my family members. Because if you say it's a quick read, because I was in my mind, I was like, is he gonna read it? Like,
it's a quick read. Like I need to do the audiobook. I'll be doing that soon.
Oh, audio?
I'm gonna do an audio version for it because I'm an audiobook listener. I do audiobooks. That's all I listen to is audiobooks. But I take notes when I'm doing audiobook though. But I don't know, I prefer audiobooks.
Okay. So it's gonna be your voice on it? You gonna be reading it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because sometimes they have people in there. You be like,
I feel like it gotta be my voice. But you can get it like right now. You can get it the paperback and Kindle. I'm gonna do audiobooks soon.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Anthony, for being here, for discussing the journey to co-parenting, what it looks like, how we can navigate those waters, how we can navigate dating and relationships. Really, communication is key, it sounds like, and really trying to just do it the right way. If you can, try to do it the right way. If y'all have questions about that and y'all are like, okay, I want to be able to do it the right way, Anthony's here. He's the
and when you say that the right way, like I put that in quotes because the right way doesn't look the same for everybody.
It doesn't look the same.
You got to do the right way given your circumstances, right? So It's very situational. So right looks different for everybody.
That's good.
Right. So don't judge yourself based on somebody else, what somebody else's co-parenting relationship looks like. And if you can never get to that point to where like me and my kid's mom is where everything's excellent and where we communicate really well, like it may not get there. So right can be different for everybody.
That is good. That's key. I really appreciate you being here today and talking with us. Y'all, it's been real. It's been good. If you have any questions, you know what to do. The link is in the description to reach out to us. Please comment, leave a review, do whatever you do, like, share. If you know this conversation was needed for somebody in your life, share it with them. They're going to need this. They're going to be blessed by it. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in to When Marriage and Purpose Collide. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into When Marriage and Purpose Collide podcast.
Click on the link in the description to learn a little more about us. Subscribe and send a review on your takeaways or any new insight you have gained in this episode.
See you back here for our next episode. Peace.